but I do know I think they want to hand it off to Jane Foster's character.
Well, that's what they're doing, Jay. Have you heard? It's called the MCU.
Why do you hate women?
I don't hate women.
Every time we get together, you're like, God, my wife, she was talking again. She had an opinion. And like you get that
I just sit there and take it.
Welcome to A Cast with No Name. We are your hosts. I'm Jay.
And I'm Matt.
This is episode 3, Monday, April 18th, 2022. This episode, we will discuss the Sean Levy action comedy, The Adam Project, plus the current state of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Does it suck? We'll find out on A Cast with No Name. But first, Matthew.
Jay.
Have you watched anything?
Yeah. I dug in and was really interested in watching Alien again. So, well, not Alien, but the Prometheus Alien Covenant series. Because I heard a rumor that Ridley Scott, or not Ridley Scott, but Fede Alvarez, the guy who did the Evil Dead remake and Don't Breathe, was doing a spinoff of Alien, which is kind of intriguing. I don't know if they're going to, but I don't think they're going to go through or continue on with the Alien Covenant storyline. They're just going to
they're not doing the prequel story thing. Do you know what the spinoff is supposed to entail? Did they say anything?
No, just it's going to have a xenomorph and it's going to be scary.
I wonder if it'll just be a different side story, not any existing characters, no one related to Ripley, and then just...
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a prequel set before the original Alien, but after Alien Covenant or something. I don't know. I think they're going to get back to their horror roots because Prometheus wasn't particularly scary and Alien Covenant wasn't scary at all. Mm-hmm. But I just, Prometheus, I like the concept of it. I like that idea of, where did we come from? Were we created? Is there a God? That whole theme, and then exploring that idea. But then it just kind of morphs into this. You could tell during this they wanted to include the alien somehow, and it just got convoluted towards the end. And obviously that stinger at the end, where like the hybrid alien that bursts out of the engineer at the end, they kind of just threw that in there to say, yeah, this is somehow related to Alien. We just don't know how it is yet. Mm-hmm. And then Elizabeth Shaw goes off to find the engineers and figure out, why were they about to kill us all? Why did they create this substance to kind of exterminate the human population? And I think if they would have made a sequel with that in mind, like Elizabeth Shaw and her journey to the engineer planet to figure that out and made a movie about that, it probably would have been more interesting than Alien Covenant, which kind of just, it's a colony ship that they never really explain why there's this ship of people colonizing.
I never saw Alien Covenant.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah. I mean, just like what happened in there?
Yeah, sure. So at the end of Prometheus, Elizabeth Shaw takes one of the engineer spaceships and she's like, I'm going to go to the planet and figure out why'd they do what they did.
Yeah. And she had Magneto's head in her backpack. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. That's right. But so it follows this ship called the Covenant. Mm-hmm. And their mission is to colonize a planet that they're going to. I can't remember the name of the planet off the top of my head, but they're just going to that planet to colonize it. They hear Elizabeth Shaw's distress signal. So they go to research the distress signal. They reach the planet. It's obvious it's the alien planet, the engineer planet that Elizabeth Shaw was going to. They touch down. One guy gets infected with this bacteria that causes aliens to burst out of their back, which is a pretty cool scene. It bursts out of his back instead of the front. And crap, I'm trying to think of the robot's name, or the android or whatever.
Oh, he's an android.
Dave.
Okay, yeah.
Dave, Michael Fassbender's character. He's there alive. Reconstructed, I guess Elizabeth Shaw reconstructed his body or whatever. And
so she's not in this movie at all.
No. So David kills her because he wants to create. Yeah, he holds this grudge against his creator for creating him without, emotions, and but he feels like there's more to him than just being a typical robot that, with structure and sequence. He feels like he can be creative and do his own thing. So to prove that, he becomes this evil
Did
mega maniacal god monster who creates these aliens to
It's been years since I saw Prometheus. Did they explore that arc in the first movie?
a little bit,
Okay, and
a
then
little bit.
in this movie, it's just he's already there.
He's already there.
That would
and
have been a good thing. That would have been a good movie to see too.
It-
Is
yes.
an android like becoming self-aware and realizing,
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree with you. They could have done that route, which would have been really neat. But then it's kind of boring to where, all right, so this android wants to be a creator and he kills human beings. He ends up getting on the Covenant ship, takes over the Covenant ship, and then takes 2 face hugger alien eggs with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the movie ends with him going to the planet that they were going to colonize. And then exactly, it's thank you. It's
Was it the planet he was going to? Was that the U5, whatever the heck
it was like S6. I can't remember off the top of my head.
was it supposed to be the one that was alien in the first, or it was a different one?
It's a different one.
So they're just hopping from planet to planet,
Yes.
laying all these eggs everywhere.
I think that's gonna be the gist of it moving forward, or that was the idea. But it would have been a much better movie if they just abandoned that colony thing
Mhm.
and they just had a movie about Elizabeth Shaw exploring the engineered planet and her trying to figure out
Yeah,
why they did what they did. It would have been more interesting, more compelling.
yeah. You could have had the
It could have been a good sci-fi movie, Jay. It didn't have to be like an alien, like you said. You didn't have
Mhm.
to put alien.
I mean, it
the
would have
xenomorph
been nice
into it.
philosophical because you'd have one. I mean, if you had Elizabeth Shaw searching for the engineers, figuring out why her creators were trying to kill them,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, you have David, who is a creation, and at the same time, he wants to become a creator.
Yeah,
So you could have that dichotomy going on, which would make for a nice story. But
Yeah.
you know,
So you-
writing's tough. So
right. It is, and you have to pick a lane though. You either have
Yeah.
to be, are you going to be an interesting sci-fi movie, or are you going to be a horror movie,
hmm
or are you going to be an action movie? Like, you have Alien, which is the horror movie. You have Aliens, which is the action. And Alien Covenant could not decide what it wanted to do.
hmm
It wanted to be that interesting sci-fi movie, but then the horror elements in it, I mean, they suck. There's a shower scene in it, Jay. Anyway, they survive a near-death experience, and the very next thing that they all want to do, the 2 remaining couples on the Covenant, they go take a shower, and then the alien's there, and it's trying to be this like scary shower death scene. Anyway, it was just lazy, not scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think Alien could be scary again?
Again, you could. I mean, if you made it like the reason the Alien, the first one's very scary, it's you're confined on a ship.
Yeah, and I mean, taking out jump scares. I mean,
Yes.
you can add that to any movie, but I mean, do you feel like it could be scary again? Like that suspense?
Yeah, in the right hands, I think you could.
The first obvious Alien movie, still really good. I mean, it's just a good horror film, but I wonder if James Cameron had the wherewithal to where, well, we've seen it. It's not scary anymore. Let's make it an action. And I wonder if that's one of the reasons why he made an action movie, or if he just felt more, I can't do a horror film, even though I think he did a pretty good job with Terminator. Or maybe he just didn't want to do it again. That's why he went action. But I wonder with Alien, if you could even make it scary anymore, just because one, you're going to be seeing it a lot and it'll be computer generated.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the sense of being stalked, and it could be anywhere in the dark shadow.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of what made it scary. And if they're able to capture that again, I think that'd be fascinating. I played have you played the Alien Isolation game?
No.
Came out for like 360, and I think they re-released it for recent console generations. But I played it, and I think I got it for like $20. It was like a greatest hits thing, and I'd play it when Christy would go to bed, and I'd turn off the lights.
Oh, did you get all scared?
I shit myself. It is. I mean, and there's androids in there. I mean, it's a very creepy game.
Oh, really?
And it got to the point where Christy was going to bed, and she's like, "Do you want me to turn off the lights?" I'm like, "Nah, you can leave them on because I'm a man."
Please. Turn on the night machine, please. I need to hear some soothing waves.
But that game was pretty good. So I mean, but the whole gist of that game is you're trying to survive on a ship, and I think you're like the daughter of Ellen Ripley. That's the character you play, and fun game. I mean, but that's a completely different medium. You're more immersed in that.
Yeah,
But
I want to play it now.
I got it. But
it kind of reminds me of Resident Evil on GameCube. I remember playing that game, being kind of scared. It was very creepy. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's what you would have to do in order for it to be scary. Kind of like that haunted house. You're confined in one area. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to escape. But I don't know. You're right. I think, and it has to have that Jaws effect to where you don't see it a lot, because we just get overrun and we're just too much CGI and just loses the effect. And we're going to talk about the Adam Project here. I have some critiques on just, I don't know where CGI has gone in the past couple of years, but it just it's distracting nowadays and people are just lazy.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well, it's also, I mean, those effect shops are treated a lot like sweatshops. So I hear. Like video games, animations, and special effects. There's always studios will shop it out, and then you have all these production houses trying to undercut the bid of the other company, and then so you're doing it for super cheap. You got to do it super quickly, and I mean, unless you were a Peter Jackson, where you're developing it's your company, it's your movie, you're spending as much time as you want on it. Or James Cameron, you're creating the technology, or you're George Lucas, you're creating the technology, or Spielberg, to where you have a blank check to do anything. It's tough because, I mean, you have these effect houses and animation studios that are trying to pump out as much stuff that they can. And I think that's probably a lot where the drawback is. Plus, it's gotten ridiculously cheap to do it now. Yeah. To where if you have time and a decent computer, you can make some pretty cool stuff. It would just take you a very long time. But throw 300 people on it, and then you can maybe get it done in a couple of months.
Yep.
But yeah, cool.
I do want to mention I saw the Stranger Things trailer too. Season 4.
Yes.
Holy shit, Jay.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Separate Ways get you.
What a glorious incorporation of that song, man. Yeah, I mean, whoever made that trailer deserves an award. What? Just great. Awesome.
Yeah, it was good. Didn't give away anything. The wife and I rewatched it recently because we thought it was going to be released on spring break, because we had this theory to where like each season was kind of released around the same kind of holiday or event that took place in the show. So season 3 was released in July. It was right around July 4th.
Summer blockbuster.
Yeah. And then in one of the earlier trailers, they said it was spring break, or mentioned it was spring break. So we thought it was going to be released in March or April. So back in January, we watched all of them again. Yeah, very good.
We're gonna watch them over again before the 4th season comes out.
It's fun.
Yeah, I guess the Duffer Brothers said that they wanted to have like a Hellraiser monster. They've always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And obviously that trailer has a villain in it.
You get Sean Levy too. He
directed a couple episodes?
Yeah, directed a couple episodes. How many episodes? I mean, did you not get the Stranger Things feeling when they were walking through the woods with the flashlight at the very beginning of the Adam Project?
You're right.
I think he directed quite a few of them. Hold on, let me look it up on the old computer. Well, he was an executive producer for 26 episodes. He directed 8 episodes, and looks like 4 in the first season, 2 in the third season, and 2 in the first season, 2 in the second season, 2 in the third season. And looks like he has 2 in the 4th season.
2 and 2?
Yep.
It's in his contract. Well, Sean Levy's a Netflix employee by now.
Oh, everyone's on Netflix. So is Ryan Reynolds.
Everyone is.
Everyone.
Yep. Yeah, we could talk about, we brought it up a couple podcasts ago. There's just something missing about Netflix movies.
Yeah.
We can talk about it when we talk about the Adam Project, but.
Well, what do you want to talk about first? Adam Project, or you want to talk about the Marvel?
Let's do the Marvel stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about the Marvel?
What are your impressions so far? Where do you think they're at? I know you mentioned it in the intro there. I feel like here's my initial impressions. I feel like they don't know what's going on anymore, and they're kind of just, which could be it could be good. I just feel like they're making movies now. They're in the motions. They're
Treading water.
treading water. There's so many different storylines now with the inclusion of the multiverse, and I feel like they're lost now. I don't know if they have like a set goal. Like when Iron Man came out, they had the idea of, okay, we're going to build up to the Infinity War. That's what we're going to do.
Well, first they said they were going to build up the Avengers. So that was
yeah.
that was
Okay.
a first experiment.
Right.
And I think in the Avengers is probably when they made it apparent that they were going to be going toward that.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the Avengers, they had that post-credit scene with Thanos.
Mhm.
So they had it in the back of their minds, like if this does work,
Yeah,
this
then
is
this is
what
where
we're
we're going to
do.
go. Yep.
Yeah. They don't have that. I don't think they have that set right now for Phase 4 and beyond. I don't know if there's an end goal, which maybe you don't need one. But I feel like, I'm so used to wanting to watch the Marvel movies because I know that there is an end goal, and I don't want to
Mhm.
miss one. Because if I miss information that I might need to have a background on when I'm watching future movies, I don't want to miss it. And I just feel like the storytelling was more concise and just better than it is now.
Um, I think you're correct that it was more concise. Um, I do think they have an end goal. The Krull or the Kree fighting the Skrull. I don't know. The two aliens fighting in or the secret invasion or something like that. That's
Yeah.
a secret invasion. And to where the Krulls, something, I don't know, the shape shifting aliens.
From like Captain Marvel.
Yeah, from Captain Marvel. And I think they showed up at one of the other, I think at the end of Far From Home or something like that.
Okay.
To where they from Maria Hill and Nick Fury, it was revealed that it wasn't them, it was aliens.
Right.
And the real Nick Fury was on a spaceship somewhere.
Right.
I think they're heading toward that storyline. I don't know what that entails. I don't know. But as far as being concise, I think they had to introduce a lot of people. And it had to service the greater story. Now that they had that success, I feel like they probably do have room to breathe. They can fail on some things.
Sure. Yeah.
And not have it derail the entire thing of what they're trying to do, because I think they have enough fans. So maybe that feels why it doesn't feel as focused.
Well,
it's
that's
just kind of,
that's a good point. That's maybe that's how they're writing it. Maybe it doesn't need to connect. They're just trying it out to see if it lands.
Mhm.
It's like Moon Knight, the new one that just came out. Maybe if it's so successful, the story itself doesn't really need to connect to the overall universe. We just want to get this out there to see if it's a hit or not. And then if it is, then yeah, we'll incorporate it some more. Because WandaVision and Loki, I think that's another thing. Just adding the TV universe and with the cinematic universe is just it just feels like there's too much.
yeah, that you can't watch everything.
Can't watch everything.
And I think maybe that's their plan, to where, okay, we
Could
know
be.
people aren't going to be able to watch everything, but we have so much stuff we can create. Maybe people will just kind of be separated, which I think is kind of risky if that's their actual plan, but obviously I think they'll be okay. For the example of WandaVision, that whole TV series
Mm-hmm.
was her just about grieving Vision.
Yeah.
That could be wrapped up in a sentence. I mean, what happened in that episode or that TV show is going to be referenced in the new Doctor Strange movie.
Mm-hmm.
And people who haven't seen that TV series, I'm sure they're going to be able to wrap it up to where, they can say, well, this is what she did, kind of a thing. For people who have, it'll be interesting to see how
It'll be like Easter egg dialogue.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
To where you don't necessarily have to watch it, but if you
Yes.
have. And they did a little bit of that with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I never watched that.
I watched, I think, the first season. That was it. But they had characters in there that they pulled into, I think, Winter Soldier. And I think they kind of referenced things that happened in there. So that way, if you watch the show, oh, there's an Easter egg for you. If you didn't, no big deal. We can gloss right over it. It's not important.
They try to do that a little bit with the Netflix Marvel, like Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Iron Fist and Luke Cage, I think, where they would reference like Easter egg dialogue, like, oh, this city, like Daredevil's in Hell's Kitchen in New York City. There'd be a conversation between Murdoch and his partner where they would reference, yeah, you know, a year ago, this city was in shambles from all those aliens invading us. And then they move on to the next. But you didn't care because the show was so great. You know, it was a good character, good writing, good, you know, I mean, it was just a good show.
Yeah.
Adult show.
When Iron Man came out, you were what, 22?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah. 20.
That's true.
We're children.
I know.
and so it's been, this is going on.
Wait, I'm a man. I'm 22, Jay. I'm a man.
It's been on for
that's a good point.
15 years. There's always been like, oh my God, I can't, like, just that whole, I can't believe they're doing this. This is actually a thing. And then that has worn away.
Maybe that's it, Jay. Maybe I'm just a bitter old man who's just tired of it. I don't know.
Yeah,
could be. But you know what? I loved Avengers Infinity War. I liked Endgame. Thought they were great. This came out 3 years ago, and you know, I'm in my mid 30s.
And I'm not saying that they're not enjoyable, but but I think maybe that's like, it's like that after like when you bang a chick and after you're done, you're like, ugh, completed, and you're let down. So it's like after we've had the Infinity War and you had that huge climax and now it's like, where could they go from here? Like, if it would feel like you're spinning your wheels.
Yes.
Because I think you had that event that took however, like 10 years to do.
Over 10 years, yeah.
Over 10 years. And now we got to wait for, in the back of your head, are you thinking, we got to wait another 10 years for this to come together? Plus you had COVID. So we've had a couple of years to where nothing really came out. If they have, it was just kind of farted out there. And to where it's pretty much 10 years from now. Like, Spider-Man, you have Far From Home, which is the beginning of phase 4, whatever.
Yeah.
That really add anything? Not really. Did No Way Home add anything? It introduced the multiverse. Then now you have Doctor Strange. So now I feel like it's starting to pick up. You're going to have Doctor Strange. You're going to have Thor, Love and Thunder within a couple months of each other. I don't know. I think they'll keep making it. I don't know if I'm going to follow it as much as I have. I'll probably always watch Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, me too. I haven't really been following it though. I kind of stopped following after Loki.
I didn't even watch Loki. I watched WandaVision. I thought that was fun because it was different.
Yeah.
I watched the first 2 episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I was like, ugh, dumb. And I couldn't get into it. It's just a typical military.
Yeah. A little smart move. It got a little preachy towards the end there, so it wasn't exactly entertaining.
But yeah, I didn't get into that. Didn't watch Loki. Didn't watch Hawkeye. Just because I didn't have an interest in it. WandaVision actually presented something that looked unique or at least stylistically different. I think that's why I watched that, which I thought it was good. But then we'll watch Doctor Strange because of Raimi, and then
and that's the only reason why I'm excited about Doctor Strange though, is because of Raimi. I'm interested to see what's going to turn out. Because I thought Black Widow was okay. Shang-Chi, I thought that was okay. Good, good action scenes and stuff, but the story wasn't really. Got kind of cartoony towards the end there with the dragons and.
Forgot about those movies.
Exactly. Exactly. I haven't even seen Eternals. I'm just not interested.
I haven't seen the Eternals. I haven't seen Black Widow. I haven't seen Shang-Chi.
But we've talked about this. They're kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel of their characters.
Yeah.
I mean, going from Iron Man to Thor, Captain, like these well-established Marvel heroes.
Which Thor wasn't. I mean, Thor was popular, but he wasn't. Neither was Iron Man. I mean, Captain America was probably the one that everyone kind of knew.
Or the Hulk.
Hulk.
Yeah. But it's not Shang-Chi.
Yeah, it's not
the Eternals.
Rando dude.
Black Widow. I mean, these are like third or fourth tier characters.
Yeah, Black Widow. I mean, everyone knows that, but I mean, that movie should have came out after Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
But it was just weird releasing it after her character died.
Yeah. That's another problem with the MCU is there's no stakes anymore. I mean, Vision dies and he's back up in WandaVision. Loki dies twice in the Dark World and Infinity War. Or is it? No, it's Infinity War. And then the multiverse is introduced in Endgame and he gets his own show and he's back. Black Widow, like you said, they should have released it after Iron Man 2 because she dies at the end. It's just, characters can just come back. There's no stakes really.
Do you think Robert Downey Jr. will be in Multiverse of Madness?
I don't know. I know that Professor X is going to be there.
Yeah.
They're going to introduce some X-Men characters. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Because they have the superior Iron Man robots escorting him with the little arc reactors in his chest. But I don't know who the superior Iron Man is. I don't know if it's Tony Stark or if it's
somebody else.
Somebody else. It could be somebody else since it's a multiverse or it's a multiverse. They could do whatever they want and they could bring back Robert Downey Jr.
So that's the thing, Jay. Does that interest you?
No.
Because you can do whatever you want and it can be explained however you want.
No.
Because it doesn't need to make sense.
No, they tried that with Star Wars and it didn't work. No. Because in it, it's Tony Stark, but it's not Tony Stark. That's lazy.
Right.
And even if they brought him back, I'm not interested in that. It diminishes the character.
Yeah.
And it just kills it. And I know why. It's for fan service and stuff like that. But
sure.
It's like in Spider-Man 3, the Raimi one, when Sandman said, "Oh, I was the one that killed Uncle Ben."
Yeah.
And it completely absolved Peter Parker of all of his guilt, all of it, like his whole mission in life. It's, I guess it wasn't it just completely ruined that character.
Didn't even need to have it.
Yeah. And
you're right.
But yeah, it's when they do stuff like that and retcon things, it's or just make up things as they go along, like Star Wars. And it's just crap.
So yeah, that's my thoughts. I just feel like it's kind of just the MCU is kind of just lost right now, and I'm not really that interested in it anymore. And that's fine, Do movies for fan service. That's fine. People will go see it, and I'm sure you'll turn out some movies that are pretty good. Like I thought that with this, the past Phase 1 and Phase 2, like when Captain America Winter Soldier came out, I thought that was just a great like spy action movie. I didn't even think I was watching a comic book movie at that point anymore. Or Thor Ragnarok. It was great like comedy. Or Guardians of the Galaxy, another great comedy action movie. Like maybe if they could do like a genre type MCU movie that kind of highlights those specific genre aspects again, I'm sure I can enjoy it. Like Doctor Strange, I thought was going to be a horror movie. If they had like a horror MCU movie, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. And a tricky thing would be is if you can just kind of watch them every now and then, like a random movie, and still be able to get it or pick up on it, not having to watch the
everything
previous
else.
films and everything else. Yeah, it would give you a deeper appreciation, but at the same time, I mean, these have been turning into TV episodes.
Yeah.
More than anything. But
wait, Jay, you're telling me you're not going to watch all 23 MCU movies before we go see Doctor Strange?
Yeah, no. So if it references the Eternals, Black Widow, or
Shang-Chi,
which I heard Shang-Chi wasn't bad. Eternals I won't watch just because Angelina Jolie is.
Wait, what do you got against Angelina Jolie?
She's not a good actress.
I'm trying to play
play
devil's
prove me wrong.
Shit.
I can wait.
It's fine now. Keep going.
No,
It's gonna be a while.
It's all right. But yeah, she's not a. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't have an urge for Eternals. That and I don't know who the hell they are. I didn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy were, but at least the trailer was entertaining. That's probably one of my favorite trailers that they made. Yeah. And
oh, speaking of trailers, Jay, what did you think of the new Thor Love and Thunder?
Yeah.
That's a sexy segue.
That was. God. Segues. I liked it. Again, bringing I mean, right. it's the new thing for trailers is throwing in an 80s song into a trailer for anything. But I liked it. Although I think Sweet Child of Mine, I don't know if that was 80s or 90s, whatever. I liked 80s. It. I like the colors. I like the brightness. I like him trying to find himself, like he's done his thing, like he's retired and he's just, what do you do? He's past his battle Thor stage. Because I mean, when you first entered, like he just wants to battle the whole time. He wants to fight. He wants to. Yep. And now he's relaxed. He's all right. What do I do? Kind of a thing.
It's kind of like a good metaphor for the MCU. Like, what do you do now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I thought some of the shots were pretty funny. Him doing CrossFit or whatever.
Doing the CrossFit with it,
with the chains.
And he's fat Thor. Yeah. He's all fat.
I think Hercules. I'm not aware of his character, but I imagine that's who person grabs the lightning bolt. Yeah. And I think it'll be entertaining. It'll be fun.
Sure, yeah.
I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah.
Natalie Portman is
Lady Thor.
Lady Thor.
Lady Thor.
I'm on board. I don't think she's that good of an actress either, but
who is a good actress to you, Jay?
Well, first you gotta have a peen because
that's all that matters in this world.
Good actress. Jodie Foster.
Oh, okay.
She's pretty solid.
That's fair.
Oh, we'll get into Jennifer Garner in the Adam Project.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That I'm not usually a fan of hers. I enjoyed 13 going on 30, but no.
Like every other 13-year-old girl, Jason. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. But the fuck was I talking about?
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, Thor. Yeah.
Being Lady Thor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
But that's another thing, Jay. Thor's hammer. Is everybody just willing that thing now? It used to be like you had to be a special. You had to be the power of Thor to handle it. You got Vision handling it. You got Captain America.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how she becomes worthy.
Yeah,
and I mean, they didn't show much in the trailer, which I enjoyed. Everything they showed in the trailer probably could be, with the exception of Natalie Portman wielding Meow Meow or whatever the hell. Most of that could have just been the first 10 minutes of the movie, which would be good. But
which good trailers do only have like the first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie on there.
But I enjoyed the trailer. I hope that they explain how she becomes worthy, or they show that. I'd like to see how she becomes worthy, or see that character arc, right? Because she hasn't been in movies since Thor. The Dark World.
The Dark World, yeah. Well, is this the Jane Foster from this universe, or is it a different?
Oh, a multiverse?
Yeah, like a different Jane Foster.
I didn't even think about that. Could be.
You have to think about that every time now. I have no idea who's in what universe anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good point.
Doctor Strange fucked that all up.
If it is a Jane Foster in the original universe, then I hope they show her character.
Yeah.
If they pull her out of nowhere, because after the Multiverse of Madness, if shit's just haywire and people are coming in and out and you don't know who belongs to what, I guess it gives you some storytelling options, but also gives you some backdoor lazy writing stuff, like
retcon galore.
Yeah. Oh, this is version 616, and But no, I don't know. If it is with Jane Foster, I'd like to see her arc to do that.
I was gonna say, I think this is
I think
not gonna be centered around Thor. I feel like it's gonna be centered around Jane Foster.
it could be, and that's
Yeah.
fine too. I
Yeah.
mean, because I mean, I don't know if this is his last movie that he's
He's the only one to get 4.
contractually obligated to do. But I do know I think they want to hand it off to Jane Foster's character.
Well, that's what they're doing, Jay. Have you heard? It's called the MCU.
Why do you hate women?
I don't hate women.
Every time we get together, you're like, God, my wife, she was talking again. Oh, she had an opinion, and then, like you get. That
I had to sit there and take it.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, I hope they show her character. I thought the trailer looked fun. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I'll watch it.
Yeah, I like Taika Waititi.
Yeah,
he's a good director. He's funny.
Was it Korg or what's
Korg? Yeah, I think it's Korg.
Korg.
I think it's Korg.
That's funny.
Yeah. I like his sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anyone who writes What We Do in the Shadows is right by my book.
What does it mean, Laszlo? It means what fuck, darling. Yeah. What do you think about it?
I thought the same thing. I'm interested because I like Taika Waititi. Chris Hemsworth is funny. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy in there. I like that whole dynamic of the Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor on like an adventure or something. That would be kind of cool. I didn't read the comics of Thor, so I don't know anything about Lady Thor. I have no idea.
The only thing I know is stuff I've read on Wikipedia because I'm too lazy to buy. I'm too cheap to buy comic books, and I'm too lazy to read them. So,
right. And I enjoyed, Fat Thor doing some CrossFit. And so I know the movie's gonna be full of like funny shit like that, which I can look forward to.
If they do the whole movie where it's just Peter Quill and Thor, just like
ripping
Thor
on each other?
ripping on each other, or like Peter Quill just getting shit on by Thor the entire time because he takes his shirt off and like his coat and it flies in Peter Quill's face. It was just, that whole. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah,
Thor and friends.
That would be the price of admission. But it was only a minute and a half, so yeah,
I like it. They could show one more trailer, same kind of feel. Don't give anything away. Stop. People will go see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I think it'll be good.
Yep. I mean, Doctor Strange, Thor: Love and Thunder. That's not a bad 1-2.
I don't know what comes after that.
I have no idea either.
But there's a lot.
There's a lot.
Captain Marvel Part 2. I don't know.
There's so many TV series coming out. Like there's Miss Marvel, which I thought Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel the same thing.
Captain Marvel, I just thought was.
It's because you don't like Brie Larson.
It's women.
It's just Jay hating on chicks.
Okay.
Well,
Jesus.
To be fair, Captain Marvel is like to me like kind of like Superman.
Yeah. That's
when you're all powerful and you have no vulnerabilities, you're not really that interesting.
Mm-hmm. Nothing was earned.
Right.
I mean, it's just you can do whatever you want.
Yep.
And even with God, what was in the Endgame, in the final battle, Peter has the Infinity Gauntlet, and then Captain Marvel comes down and takes the Infinity Gauntlet for Peter, and then she flies it because you have the power of flight. Just go up.
Yes.
Why are you flying 4 feet above the ground?
But then you wouldn't have the badass shot.
Know,
Come on, it's fan service, man.
I would have just flew up and hung out in orbit.
Yep.
Maybe put it on and then snap my fingers.
That's right.
Because she could take it because she's all powerful.
Yep.
Tony Stark wouldn't have had to die.
Nope, he wouldn't have.
I wouldn't be crying in the theater like a man.
Like a man. Who did?
You want some cheeseburgers? I'll get you all the cheeseburgers you want.
Give you all the cheeseburgers you want.
But
what a line. It's so sad.
All right, so we have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which is coming out later this year because that's slated for 2022. I imagine Christmas. Then you have The Marvels in 2023, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, 2023, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, 2023, and then the Fantastic Four. I'd be interested in the Fantastic Four. I like the Ant-Man and the Wasp ones.
Yeah,
I mean,
fun.
they're
fun.
yeah,
Nice little caper movies.
yeah. The Guardians, probably the Marvels. I don't know.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Didn't see the first one.
You didn't see Black Panther?
No.
Wow, you're like the only one.
I am.
It's a milestone in American cinematic history.
It
was okay. I mean,
and that's
okay.
why everyone's like, it was okay.
It was all right.
I was like, because by the time I would have gotten around to see it, Infinity War was just coming out, and I asked one of the people I worked with, do I need to see, like, is there anything? Because I think he had seen Infinity War already. Right. And I was like, is there anything I need to see in Black Panther before I see Infinity War?
Answer is no.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was like, all right, well, I'm going to see Infinity War. So the one, I was looking forward to that movie because I wanted to see Wakanda.
Yeah.
That was my favorite aspect of Black Panther and the comic books, was just that city. And I wanted to see, I was like, ooh, how would they do that? Like, I was interested in that. Then I saw Infinity War and I'm like, oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah.
I was like, of course, I was building it up in my mind or whatever. So
yeah.
I'd just never gotten around to seeing it. Fantastic Four, I think I'd like to see how they pull that off.
Because the last one's
there's never been a good,
not really a good
Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to see, because I mean, there's rumors like Emily Blunt and John Krasinski.
Oh, okay.
I think that'd be pretty
Couple
good.
Good actors.
Yeah.
You think Emily Blunt can act, right, Jay?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, she's one.
Hey,
she's the one. She's the one that can act.
She's the one.
Yeah. And then for TV shows, there's Miss Marvel, She-Hulk. She-Hulk would be interesting, I think. Oh, Secret Invasion is a TV show. All right. Ironheart. Oh, that's the
is that Lady Iron Man?
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. I think she's like an MIT student or something like that. That I don't know. Yeah. Ugh. It's exhausting.
It is. There's too much.
Don't have kids, people.
I know.
Or you won't have time to watch all these things.
I know.
We don't have time to watch all these things.
Nope, sure don't.
But we did have time to watch The Atom Project.
Yeah, we did. We sure did. That's on Netflix.
It is on Netflix.
I don't have to move from my couch.
That's right. The Atom Project came out in this year, 2022. It's rated PG-13, directed by Sean Levy. Stars Ryan Reynolds, Walker Scoble, Mark Ruffalo, Jennifer Garner, Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, that's right.
Zoe Saldana.
Yeah,
and Catherine Keener. After accidentally crash landing in 2022, time traveler fighter pilot Adam Reed teams up with his 12-year-old self for a mission to save the future.
That's right.
What are your thoughts on the Atom Project?
Initially, I thought it was okay. I like Ryan Reynolds. I like his humor, but I feel like he just phones it in sometimes. The relationship with him and himself was, good. It was funny, cute. I like the relationship when Jennifer Gardner and Ryan Reynolds, like when they had that moment in the bar.
Yep.
That was great, fantastic. But we were talking about CGI, man. I don't know what it is with these movies and CGI. It just takes it out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I know what it is. I think I've nailed it down, Jay. These movies are meant to be seen on a phone, like an iPhone. That's the way most kids nowadays consume movies.
So it's not the big screen. You don't need to have it.
You don't need to have the CGI be that great. It could be like 80%. But when you see it on like an 85-inch TV, like I have at my house, you notice.
Jesus, Rockefeller.
That's right.
God, I'm just rocking my 42-inch because I'm poor.
Well, you can go to Walmart and get the same TV I got for $400, Jay. You cheap ass.
No excuses.
That's right. But that's what I think it is. I think you can get away with like small. You don't have to, like you said, it's like factory CGI to where you don't need it. It doesn't need to be perfect because people are watching it on their phone. They're not watching it on. It's not being released in theaters. It's on Netflix.
No,
it's gonna be just fine.
Would you recommend it? Anybody watching it?
Honestly, no.
No?
I wouldn't recommend it. No.
I would recommend it.
Okay, here we go. Let's spar.
Because you're a dummy. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's enjoyable. It's entertaining. Is it a movie you're going to rewatch every year? No. But I think it's a fun movie to watch if you have a kid that's 8, 12, 10, somewhere around there. They're going to be entertained. There's jokes in there for them. There's quite a few more adult jokes for the grown-ups watching it. It's not going to change your life or anything, but it's entertaining. It's something to have on. I mean, is it worth watching? Sure, watch it once. Is it Sean Levy's best or Ryan Reynolds? No. I mean, I think there's some redeeming parts in there, and I think there's some good character spots in the movie. If you don't know what to watch and you haven't seen it, sure, give it a watch. It's not going to bore you, and it's only, I don't know, how long is it? It's only hour and 46 minutes, so it's not too terribly long.
I'll concede that to you, Jay.
It's good.
If there is nothing else on and you have an hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes to kill, then okay, sure.
Yeah.
But if you have options, I wouldn't pick the Adam Project.
Like what option? Like
going on Netflix, watching anything else?
Like oh God, what's on Netflix?
Like everything.
God, too much shit.
Just too much shit.
All right.
You could watch The Queen's Gambit.
All right, that's really good.
That's a good show.
That is really good. That's another one that can act. Anya Taylor. What's her name? Anya Salamander Eyes.
Her eyes are like salamanders.
Yeah.
That's
she's
good.
pretty, but salamander.
Well, she's got the movie star, like, pretty big head. Her eyes are way oversized, like Amanda Seyfried.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's almost like that classic Hollywood.
Yes.
Look.
Yes.
Watch The Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
Do you have 10 hours? Watch The Queen's Gambit.
That's right. Well,
do you only have an hour and 45 minutes? Watch The Adam Project.
You can watch one episode of The Queen's Gambit and it's still more entertaining.
Yeah. No.
But I agree with you. If you're with an 8-year-old or a 9 or a 10-year-old, yes, they'll be entertained. They steal from Star Wars. There's some lightsaber fights in there.
It's PG-13, so you're gonna have some cuss words.
Yeah.
So if that's a thing, keep that in mind. But if not, I mean, there's only 200 people listening to this shit. So if you have kids,
hey, it's more than 10 people, Jay.
Yeah. We tens of people. We have hundreds of listeners.
That's
Matt.
right.
Our hundreds of
listeners. That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd recommend it. It's just, I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
All right. More in the nitty gritty. Oh, it's not fun?
I disagree.
Jesus.
Okay, fine. But let's go in the nitty gritty, Jay.
Go in the nitty gritty.
Let's do it. Oh, by the way, did you notice at Skydance they changed their intro? What the fuck is that about? It was like they had some cheap, like, generic, weird music in the back. I don't understand.
Because the Skydance used to be like a close up of the sun.
Yeah.
And then did they change it to? I noticed the first time I saw this movie twice. The first time, I mean, I watched it like a month ago or whenever it came out. Was like a star, like a galaxy look or something.
It was like a galaxy look, and then like
because I thought it was Relativity Media.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Unless maybe Skydance bought out Relativity. That'd be
Did Tom Cruise used to like own Skydance? Or was he a partner in Skydance?
I have no clue.
I don't know.
I'm not in the fucking board.
Well, there's 4 different production companies that are
all these people
Skydance
had to come
and Netflix
together.
Present a 21 lap production.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first thing I noticed. The music, it sounded like stock.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. It just jumped out to me. Anyway, but the first thing, Jay, is 2050. That's the, it's a shot of the Earth, and it's year 2050. And I'm just thinking to myself, why can't you go to like 2150, 2200? Because SpaceX can barely get rockets into the atmosphere without blowing up. But I'm supposed to believe that 25 years from now, there's going to be like, you know, spaceships going through space. We're going to have pulse quantum guns that open up portals into time. It's just annoying to me. Just set it a couple hundred years in the future. It doesn't need to be like right down the road. Like, oh, I can imagine this happening in my lifetime. Are you just not as passionate about it as I am?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we put a man on the moon in 10 years.
I know.
And what is it? July 69. And then when was flight? The first flight? It was like 1911, 19. When?
What do you mean the first flight? Oh, plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. 1911-ish.
Something
The Wright
around.
brothers.
It's like 50 years after we got off the ground, we went to the moon.
Yeah.
You don't think we could have common space travel in 30 years?
Well,
if we set
Jay,
our mind to
it's
it?
been 55 years. Then we made the jump from off the ground to the moon in 50.
The Cold War is over, and the dick measuring contest ended with Russia, so
That's
we had
true.
no reason to go to space. But
Right. And we have no reason for space travel right now.
well,
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be
disagree.
it's gonna be
on
crazy
that. I
expensive, Jay.
Disagree on the.
It's gonna be crazy expensive. No one's gonna be able to afford it.
Well, yeah, we're all going to be renters.
That's true.
No one's going to.
And you'll enjoy it, Jay.
We will. We will be happy.
That's right. You will be happy.
Be happy. But yeah. So
Yeah.
you want to take place further in the future,
Yeah. It's just
Okay.
just a nitpick.
just to
of
make it
mine.
a little bit more believable.
Yes.
Got you.
And it's
No problem.
it's a little thing that just
Yeah. Nope.
Why does every movie have to have a single parent established? Every time.
The nuclear family is over.
I said their house is awesome, by the way. Maybe have them grow up in a normal house with two parents.
So, all right.
What do you think of that, Jay?
I think it's nitpicky. I think what I thought this movie was best with the emotional beats. I thought that was the best part of the movie.
I agree with
You touched on it with
I agree with you.
the scene with Ryan Reynolds and Jennifer
Jennifer
Garner
Garner.
in the bar.
Yeah.
That I think was probably one of the best scenes.
I thought it was the best scene in the movie.
Jennifer Garner, I think was the best person in this movie.
I agree.
She just from the minute, like they're driving home and she's scolding young Adam, and he gives the shithead child response of "Dad would understand," and like didn't say anything, didn't overact it. Just you could tell that
Yep.
she was just shoving it down and just letting it go. But I thought she did fantastic in this movie. I think she was the best part. All the emotional scenes, I think, were the best parts. The action was very generic.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in there to, I guess, keep things moving.
Yeah.
Dialogue was a little expository sometimes, like when they come and Zoe Saldana's making her final stand, and the dude with the scar on his face gets out of the car and says, "Oh, you still mad at me for blowing up your ship?" No one talks like that. And
yeah, they do, Jay.
like, like all characters just need to start speaking. "Hey, you still mad at me for banging your wife?" No, I'm over that. But you stubbed my toe the other day. It was a little expository from that. That and when Catherine Keener confronts her younger self, and she's like, "I thought you were gone," or like, "What? I didn't know this was the plan." And she's like, "What did you think all those stock buys and blah 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 blah?" Like,
they're over explaining stuff.
Yeah,
too.
they're over explaining stuff. The dialogue was.
It goes back to my point I made before, Jay. The writers think that audiences are stupid.
But overall, the action I thought didn't need to be there. Some of it was fine, but I feel like it could have been a character-driven movie.
Yeah.
And worked just as well, because I think those were the best parts of it.
I agree. Oh my goodness, though. Digital Catherine Keener.
that you could tell was felt rushed because there's a lot of she's been acting for a long
I
time.
know.
There's plenty of footage they could have found.
Yeah.
Um, but
I mean, even 15 years ago when she was in 40-Year-Old Virgin, she looked better there than the 25-year-old digital self that they
yeah,
had in the movie.
yep. And there's a movie she was in, Living in Oblivion. Really good at that.
I don't even know. I've never even heard that.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh.
Tom DeSillo, I think. Hold on. Living in Oblivion. So this is a movie I think we should talk about. Tom DeSillo has Steve Buscemi, Catherine Keener, Dermot Mulroney. It's fantastic. Came out in 95.
Huh.
There you go. You can borrow it.
Nice.
It's on Glorious.
Oh, it's got Buscemi?
Yeah. It's a movie about making a movie.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
It's one of my favorite Catherine Keener movies. But yeah, I mean the effects in there, I mean it was just questionable.
Yeah.
You said the nitpicky thing about the time travel or like taking place in 2050 was what got you. What got me was the where is it? I wrote it down. The bullet magnet. When at the end, when he fired she fired the gun, and the bullet came out, stopped, turned, and then shot her younger self because it curved because of the magnetic pull. If it was that strong, and I'm not a physicist, but when a bullet leaves a gun at roughly, what is it, 2,800 feet per second, or I mean, I don't know,
It's fast.
1,500 feet per.
Yeah.
It's pretty fast. So when you fire a gun, people, you will have a shell eject the same time you fire the gun. You know, the bullet will leave the barrel, a shell will eject. If you shot in the desert, that bullet that you fired from your gun would hit the ground roughly the same time the shell
Hits
ejects.
the ground.
As long as the shell is ejecting from the gun from a horizontal angle, and it's ejected the exact same time the bullet leaves the barrel.
Right.
The bullet and the shell would hit the ground at the exact same time. That's gravity. You cannot escape the force of gravity. Also, you can't escape a magnetic pull if something is affected by that magnetic pull. And if it was pulling that fast to where the velocity of the pull is greater than the velocity of the bullet leaving the barrel, it would rip the gun out of your hand.
That's right. It's very true.
It also, when it leave your gun, travel forward towards your target for about 3 or 4 feet, stop, turn,
On
then
a
go
dime.
in the dime. It would immediately start to turn as soon as it left the barrel.
It's very true.
That's my nitpick.
That's your nitpick.
That's my nitpick of the
So
whole.
you were giving me shit about the 2050 thing.
I'm giving you shit about physics.
Come on, Sir Isaac fucking Newton over here.
Things that exist now, not something that may or may not exist.
Right. That's a good point, though. You're right. Yeah, the gun would have been out of the hand.
But that's my tiny nitpick. Also, So that was my one nitpick that I wanted to do as far as things not actually happening. But
yeah, they had a lot of Star Wars references in this, though. God,
Yeah,
I was thinking Return of the Jedi the whole time with that chase in the woods.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, flinging open the door and the
was like
thing
beat for
crashing
beat.
into the thing.
Yeah.
What was the point of the invisibility cloak?
That's a good. I didn't even think about that.
Because I wrote down, I first wrote down, bad guy soldier fodder, invisibility is pointless, or are they time traveling? I thought maybe they're just appearing from the future to
gotcha.
fight, but no, because time traveling has to be done through the wormhole based on
Right.
the rules they set up. So,
Yep.
so I immediately crossed that out. I was like, nope, they're invisible. They could have done that a little bit better to where they could have made goggles or eyewear to be able to see them.
Okay.
If they wanted to have some kind of fight scene, then they could have done some cartoonish bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the choreography was that good. But if you have invisibility cloak, why would you make yourself reappear before you attack somebody? Just stay invisible. and kick the shit out of somebody.
You're making too much sense, Jay.
It's just, it's effects for the sake of effects to where they didn't need, take out the invisibility.
Yeah.
I mean, was the biggest problem thinking, oh, what if they see this? What if people see something?
I think that's what the writers were thinking.
Yeah, except
It could affect
both
time.
times that it was invisible. One, the ship was in the woods.
Yep.
No one would have saw it. They're visible anyways, half the time flying around in the open air. People can see it.
Sure.
It felt useless. I don't know if it was just,
It's completely useless.
I don't know why they had it in
It's
there.
a good
They could have
point.
just ripped it out and then it would have been fine.
Yeah.
The Ruffalo telling his son that he loves him and telling him it reminded me of Good Will Hunting. Like I was waiting for him to say it's not your fault.
It's not your fault. Yeah.
It's not your fault.
Did you like that scene though? It was like bordering on the edge of cheesy to me.
Yeah,
But Reynolds is a good actor though.
he is. I get why that scene was there. The bigger problem I had was Adam liking his younger self. I didn't feel like that was earned. Because at the end, he was like, oh, I feel like you're... And that... I feel like that could have been a better movie. You always have the dad left kind of movie. And I think it would have been a kind of a cool concept if the story arcs were a little bit better. I mean, the younger version Adam had a slightly better story arc to where he kind of learned not to be an asshole. Although he didn't have that story arc because he died or he rippled out. So they never experienced this. Technically, they really never learned anything because those versions of themselves were kaputs.
Yeah, after they stopped the invention of time travel.
I think what probably would have been a little bit better is you have the younger Adam, which doesn't like how he is. He's small. He wants to be his older self.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Ryan Reynolds' character who hates his younger self, which is why he's that person. I think it would have made a very interesting movie if they would have learned to like themselves. So you have the younger one appreciating who he is, and then you have the older one appreciating who he was. And I think that would have probably been a little bit of a better, I guess, emotional story, or felt like it earned more, or it was earned more, because I didn't feel like, I mean, the whole time they were bickering, half the time it was like he was babysitting his younger self. So I didn't feel like they earned each other's respect, for a sense. But I feel like that could have been handled differently. Do
you think that they needed Zoe Saldana's character in it? I mean, I thought she was pretty decent in the movie, but do you think that her character was necessary in order for him to travel back in time? Did they need that setup of I'm looking for my wife? Her death was a bullshit story, and I'm investigating it. Or do you think they could have just negated having him, that he wasn't married? Like, would it be more compelling if he traveled back in time because he was in trouble with, not the law, but in trouble with the military or whatever, and he was just trying to escape for whatever reason, or pick a reason why he went back into time? And then you have the story of him trying to rediscover himself through his younger self, redeveloping his relationship with his mother, kind of thing, to maybe change his future self, so he's not in trouble with the law or makes the wrong decisions, because they circle back to, it was all because he didn't have a good relationship with his mom, and if he just did it differently, he would have turned out differently.
So he's teaching his younger self not to be an asshole, so that way
the time is like restructured. But then you have a different movie. You don't have have Catherine Keener chasing after him for but I guess
which is fine. I didn't like the cat. Actually, I love Catherine Keener. I don't think she was necessary in the movie.
Yeah, because you don't need like an evil mega.
You could, but just leave him in the future,
right? Or you need someone pursuing Ryan Reynolds' character, right? But you could excuse it by saying, well, we need him out of the past because he's a recluse and he could interact with
John
people.
Connor thing, and then yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't mind, like, his wife did feel like an afterthought. I thought those scenes were good.
Yeah.
Him and Zoe, when they had their scene, their makeout session, whatever. But when they said goodbye and then he was driving away,
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty good.
That was good. Yeah, that's another emotional beat that they did really well. It hit.
And I liked her facial expression right before she gets killed by Catherine Keener, to where she's looking up at
Catherine Keener.
Yeah. When Zoe Saldana is looking up at Catherine Keener, I like Zoe's facial expression. She does, like, to where it's like, no, fuck you, and then you just slowly see her realization, like
it's
okay,
happening.
Here I go.
No, I'm not. She was actually pretty good, and she's the ultimate badass action, female, and that's who you cast in a movie for an action movie. Female lead is Zoe Saldana. She's and everything else.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't mind I guess I gave him some kind of reason to go back. Because I don't think if she didn't exist, I don't know if Adam Reed's character would have the wherewithal or the desire to go back to change his younger self. Because if he was that much in trouble, unless he was seriously guilty or felt guilty of how he was or how he turned out, then you have to spend a lot more time in the future seeing how much of his life is shit, kind of a thing.
Right.
But I mean,
that's a good point.
And that kind of tips toe into other movies, to where going back and changing your past self to it's, 13 going on 30 is a little bit kind of like that, except it's the reverse.
Yeah.
The father, I didn't really feel like he felt like a father. Like, I don't know.
No, it did feel sort of like it was, Ruffalo was kind of phoning it in a little bit. Yeah. And they I don't know. You're right. They did kind of write him like he wasn't, I don't know. But then at the end, he kind of had that heart to heart with Ryan Reynolds. I love you, son. And they had the Goodwill Hunting moment that you were talking about. But yeah, those early scenes where he encounters him at the college lecture hall and all that stuff. And he's kind of just, do you think they earned that, by the way, Jay, where he was like, Adam?
No.
Like he realized it right away? I'm like, wow, come
really?
on. Really?
Out of nowhere? Like, if someone comes up to me out of nowhere and just says some random thing that I possibly said one time, I'd be like, where did I hear that from?
Exactly.
Like, that's what I would...
Deja vu. You're not automatically going to think, oh, this is my son from the future.
Yeah. That I thought was a little quick.
He's so smart.
And granted, he was working on a project that would do that, but everyone accepts things very well, which they do mention. He's like, oh, you're coming to grips with this awfully fast, kind of a thing. And they just kind of blow by it. But.
Yeah. Well, wasn't he surprised that he invented time travel? I swear there's a scene where he was like, oh, we invented time travel? What? And I think it was after he realized that was Adam's future self talking to him, which is why, well, if you know that's Adam.
Yeah. And,
why are you surprised?
And he had a breakthrough knowing that the algorithm that he would use to stabilize it
was sequenced wrong. I think
a little bit. It was probably something that
I remember watching and thinking, well, why are you surprised you invented time travel when you recognized your future?
There was probably a scene in there that was edited or reshot or something that didn't make it. But
and another giant nitpick I have, it's always confusing with these time travel movies, understanding the logic behind how they got there.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie, which really annoyed me, again, it goes back to my comments on writers thinking the audience is stupid, and they're not recognizing that they're just incompetent writers sometimes. So when Zoe Saldana and Ryan Reynolds, they go to their cabin after they escape, they have their Return of the Jedi fight scene through the forest and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. They go to the secluded cabin to kind of regroup and all that stuff. They're walking up to the cabin and they're kind of giving the backstory of where Zoe Saldana was and how they got to where they are. And
the exposition.
And I'm confused that my head was hurting. I even wrote down here. Anyway, I was like, God, why is it so difficult to explain this? And this doesn't make any sense. At that point, I kind of just tuned out and I was like, this is whatever. I'll just accept it and I'll go along for the ride. And then the kid is kind of like, oh, well, you just go back to 2018, you leave, and then you come through, blah, blah, blah. And he's explaining it. And then he has that comment to Ryan Reynolds. Wow, you traded all those brains for all that muscle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I get it. It's like, if you don't understand, like an 8-year-old can understand it. And if you don't understand it, you're just stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I thought they were laxed on the explanation as well, but I think they probably just didn't want to get into it because no matter what they say, I mean, there's very few time travel movies that can do it.
I know.
Well, and you're opening up a can of worms every time you do a time travel movie. And I think they used it just for a joke.
Well, I knew when they were writing it, they're like, oh, we'll just have this one liner that the 8-year-old says to be kind of cute and kind of just tell the audience, just run with it. We'll throw a joke in here. And it just annoyed me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just lazy writing.
Playing catch with the father at the end.
They did have that. Yeah.
Do you think that was earned? Like, did you feel anything during that? No,
not really.
I think they could have left the father out.
You think so?
Probably.
Who invented time travel then, Jay?
His father that died in a car accident, which I do like how he died in a car accident.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Catherine Keener pulling the strings and she's the one that murdered him kind of a thing. And it was just an accident. I
thought that was the road they were going to go down.
I thought it was too, and they didn't. And I was like, hey, there you go.
Yeah, okay.
Shit happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And they could have just had it because they didn't need to go back further.
Yep.
I think they could have done the whole Miles Bennett Dyson destroy Skynet thing in 2022. Because I do think the biggest arc should have been Ryan Reynolds and his younger self reconciling, because when they destroy time travel, that would only erase one of them.
Yep.
It would erase the older
one.
And that would have, I think, been a better emotional beat or emotional moment is when you have the younger one saying goodbye to his older self and the older self just saying goodbye.
Yep.
And saying, it's okay, you're going to be better than I was.
Right.
And
maybe that's why those moments weren't really earned, Jay. Like when Ruffalo is talking to the old, like, because they stopped time travel at that point and he's not going to exist anymore. That version of Ryan Reynolds isn't going to exist anymore. So why even have the heart to heart? And
that version of the 12-year-old kid's not going to exist anymore.
That's right.
And it's like, so the kid, the new versions of those is just the long-haired kid playing video games on the couch that you never hear speak. It's totally different people. So,
that's right.
Yeah, I think it probably would have been a little bit better movie if they would have left out the father, had it been about, because I mean, people would still watch it. I don't think you need the father element in there. I think the mother-son element is more than enough in there. And I think it's a better relationship, especially since the younger Adam is kind of a dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been a lot better because he would have learned something.
Yep.
Not to treat his mom like shit.
Right.
Not to be a little dick. Be a big dick with muscles.
Right.
As one should.
As you should.
But I think I think it would have just been a better payoff, better story. I mean, just for reasons I already said. Younger kid would learn to, you know what, I won't be like this forever. Or what if I continue down the path, I could see the kind of person that I end up being. While there are good aspects to that, there are a lot of aspects that aren't good. That comes along with that, with the path that I'm traveling. And then also, so you got a lesson in there for younger people saying, be careful who you are now, because that's going to affect who you become. And then you have the lesson for older people looking back at their younger selves and realizing, me doing that kind of led to this, kind of give you self-reflection and maybe possibility of doing better in the future or something like that. I think that would have been a better movie.
Dr. J.
Yes.
PhD. No, and I think
and then cut out the women from the movie because nothing but dudes.
Just dudes.
Dudes.
All dudes. Swinging dicks.
Swinging dicks.
And maybe that's as we're talking about this, that I don't think that Zoe Saldana's character needs to be there now. If he's such a dick as a little kid,
well, he could still come back to try and find his wife because
how would
his wife leaving him. or
okay.
having some kind of marital problems, which they've done that in other movies too, or whatever. But
how would he even get married, get a girl? He's a dick. He treats people like shit.
Well, he was still a dick and he got Zoe Saldana.
That's what I mean. He wouldn't get Zoe Saldana and be this loving, caring husband. If he's a loving, caring husband and he loves her so much, he's obviously he's made the leap and the hurdle to
he could still
somebody.
love her, but he'd be an asshole because when he said, when young Adam like picked up the phone, it's like, oh, who's this? And like that's my wife. He's like, we have a wife, and he's like, not anymore. I thought where they were going, she left him. And I thought that's where the story was going to go. Not, oh, she's back in time. And because it could have been him going back in time to change his younger self or something, or trying to do something in it. Maybe not stopping time. I don't know. He could have stopped time travel, but I don't know. Maybe they changed it or they threw in a bunch of stuff to make it less seem like Terminator or like stuff like that. I don't, or I mean, even Back to the Future, to where changing your past self to
prevent you from not existing.
No, prevent you from being a dick. So like the whole Back to the Future Part 2, to where,
oh, yep.
So where you see your future self. And so maybe they felt like it was too similar to that. Maybe that's why but I think it would have worked. They could have left leave out the father, leave out traveling back to 2018. It could have stayed in 2022. You could have concentrated more on the emotional aspects of it. I feel like take out some of the action. It's not needed. Because, and I think that's just the biggest thing, is that those characters died or they evaporated. There wasn't, they learned something, but then that's
maybe we're talking about like an adult time travel movie and not like not one geared towards children. Maybe that would be.
I think it still could have been geared towards children.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, it's just changing very simple things. Like, you don't need to go back and see the father. Yeah. There's, just like in Mrs. Doubtfire, you had the whole, first time I saw that, I thought, oh
wow, Mrs. Doubtfire reference.
Yeah, they didn't end up together.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing in that movie with my dad, and I was like, they didn't end up together. And my dad said, well, sometimes people don't. And he's like, that's okay. That's the moral of the story. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
And to where they could have done something like that, to where you don't need to go back and, yeah, it was nice to go see your dad one more time, but they didn't have that moment either. Like young Adam, like, yeah, he kind of sees his dad, but it didn't have that. He's like, like he's dead. And I'm seeing him again. Like that kid, if he really missed his dad, he would have lost his mind.
Yes, he would have.
And they didn't do that. Yeah, they kept it light. But I think they could have removed his character from it. Stayed in 2022. Still have his wife in there. You could still have some action. Maybe there's agents just being sent back in time. You could have removed this evil CEO, or kept the evil CEO, but they don't travel back in time. And it could have just been more of a character driven kind of a thing. And it could have concentrated on the relationship between the older and younger self. It would have been that buddy movie, which it kind of is, but take out the action, concentrate on, and make those emotional arcs hit,
right,
to where the younger kid learns something, the older guy learns something. Because maybe the older guy's back there not to fix anything that he's done, because he thinks he's better already. And then he realizes, wait, I'm going to be, and that could be an emotional beat too, to where if they decide they need to prevent time travel from happening, him realizing, I'm going to go away.
Right. And grappling with that
and saying, okay, I'm ready for that. Because even though he hated his younger self, and that's why he is who he is, he learned to love his younger self. He's like, I like where he's going. I trust
He'll
him.
be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be a better person, even though I won't experience that.
It.
I think that would have made for it would have some pretty high concepts for a kid's movie, but it would still be presented the same way. I mean, in that way, I think it would turn into, if they would have taken that much more care into it, I feel like it could have turned into a movie that you see over and over again, that you see as you grow up. And as you grow up, you take something different from it, because when you're a kid, you're going to pick up that. As you grow older, you're going to
pick it up from Ryan Reynolds' perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good idea, Jay.
So,
And-
and the side effect, you fix the mother-son relationship, which I think was the stronger bond. Or
You should
stronger.
have had more Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, it should have.
She was
And
great.
to where that should have been a better payoff too.
Mhm.
To where, because the kid at the end giving her a hug, I was like, oh yeah, that's nice, but it's a different person. He didn't learn not to be sarcastic as much. It's just he was never that sarcastic. He wasn't fighting at school. He wasn't having these issues anymore. And the whole scene with Ryan Reynolds and his mother in the bar, like, oh, you need to tell him that you're suffering, that you don't have it all together. It's okay. She's not going to do that because she doesn't exist either.
That's
because
right.
it's a different person because everything's been changed. And that's the tough thing with
Time travel movies.
Yep. But I think if they would have simplified it, I think it would have been a little bit better movie.
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say was the humor. A lot of humor in it. I felt like it kind of undercut some of the serious tones at times, to where I think they should have just
necessary. At a certain
they
point.
should just let it breathe.
Well, it's definitely one of those movies where it feels like we got to have a quippy one-liner in there from Ryan Reynolds every 5 minutes.
Yeah, like we can't let it get too serious.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a joke.
People got to know that they got to be reminded that they're having fun. This
Mhm.
isn't just a drama.
And that's fine, but I mean, some of the more fun movies, you get that time to breathe and that
Yep.
emotional sadness or whatever, and undercutting it with humor all the time, I think takes away some of it. But
Yeah.
that's what I put. I was like, am I too adult? Like, is there too much humor in this? I'd like to see what a kid thinks about this movie.
Right. Well, you're talking to one.
But I'd be interested to see, like at that age, like a 12-year-old kid watching this movie, what he's like, is he really into it? Does he think it's boring? Because there's sometimes I'm watching this, I'm like, I feel like the action is in there just for kids and some of the humor and stuff. But then some of the humor, I'm like,
That's adult.
that's kind of adult.
I think it is geared towards kids, though. The action, and it's made for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Click it on Netflix. Give it a watch.
Yeah. What'd you think of the music? Not the score.
Oh, the music.
Soundtrack. The music selection.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that kind of music.
I like that kind of music too.
Yeah.
I noticed it I definitely noticed it the second time watching it. And they did a good job picking the music without being, I feel like, too much on the nose. I'm just going to read some titles of the songs that they picked.
Oh, goodness. Did I just not even pick up on this?
Time After Time. Good Times, Bad Time. Foreplay / Long Time. And then I think there was another song in there. It wasn't in the title. I think there was it was in the lyrics. They were talking about time. But and then something else, because I had to go back and see, I didn't list out the songs as I heard them. I just noticed it as I heard it, because once I watch movies with subtitles.
Yeah.
And I kept seeing time pop up. I was like, fuck. I was like, are all these pop songs something about time or have something to do with time?
Or it's in the title. I can't believe I didn't pick up on that. You know what? But I didn't see it twice, Jay. So
yeah.
And I do not agree with this IMDb rating, 6.7.
Is that good?
It's better than most.
I mean, with IMDb, I feel like 7 and above is like 7.5 and above is a good movie. I feel like
Yeah.
anything below 7.5, I feel like it's like anything 5 is dog shit. Like anything ranked as 5 is horrible.
It's not good.
6 is like maybe
borderline, yeah.
But
well, I got a 68% on Rotten Tomatoes, 75% audience score.
Yeah, it would have gotten 89% if I wrote it. It would have been better.
It should have been better.
Would have been taughter.
Consensus. You've seen Ryan Reynolds did this sort of thing before, but the Adam Project offers slickly entertaining and occasionally even moving sci-fi action.
It's the emotional beats that I think that make this movie stand out.
It's a strong point. Yeah, definitely.
Jennifer Garner really good in it. She's too good in this movie.
She is. Yeah, she deserves better.
Yeah. She should have been in it more.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
Which is why I'm not recommending it, Jay.
because Jennifer Garner's not in it enough.
It's just that they could have done a better job.
I mean, you could say that about any movie. I mean,
I know, but they really could have done a better job with this one. They kind of phoned it in, I think.
Yeah, I can see that.
A little bit. Well, I think Sean Levy did Free Guy at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, at the same time?
I think it's like they filmed it like back to back, both Ryan Reynolds movies, and Free Guy is so much better. And so good.
I mean, I guess he comes like out, but
I mean, if you were contractually obligated to do that movie, I mean, if you had to just turn it out, I mean, all right, I'll give it to you. I mean, if you just had to turn that out in a certain amount of time, it's not bad, but I'm still gonna review it as just, I don't know. I can't recommend it, Jay. I just can't do it.
Yeah. I don't know why people would want to rush through something like that, like making a movie like that. I mean, because Free Guy was theatrically released. Yes. It was always going to be theatrically released.
Yep.
Adam Project wasn't.
Nope.
Which, well, no, the Adam Project came out this year.
Yep.
Free Guy, I think, was done because it was postponed. I think it was supposed to come out in 2020. So he's probably shooting it in 2021.
Okay.
The Adam Project. So maybe that's, but
again, it goes back to the Netflix movies. There's something missing. I feel like they were just on a timeline budget or just on time, not even a budget, just a timeline. Had to get it turned out for content purposes.
I mean, it was written. There's 4 people who wrote the movie. Who knows what people did to that? God, it's just. I don't know. There's some good. Jesus, that's producer. I saw Banshee and Warrior.
I saw it.
And I was like, God.
Jonathan Trooper.
I was like, it should be better then.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Maze Runner. Oh, fuck. Ah, God.
Yeah.
Bright 2. Oh, God. All right. That's all right.
Who are you looking at there?
T.S. Nolan? No.
I was looking at Jonathan Trooper. Chopper. Jennifer Flackett.
Yeah, she writes for Big Mouth. There's the quippiness.
Yep.
Oh,
she created Big Mouth. There we go.
Yeah.
One of the creators.
So maybe it was the writers that were contractually obligated to fart something out. Yep. Here's another one. Was a writer for Big Mouth too. Mark Levin.
Okay.
So, I mean,
and you know why I'm not going to recommend it, Jay? Because what we just talked about, I feel like would be a better movie, and they didn't make it. Damn it! So there you go.
Well, in their defense, they probably had to fart out a script, and
I know
they knew they weren't making Shakespeare. So
I still like Ryan Reynolds. I still like Sean Levy. He makes some good movies, some entertaining stuff.
Yeah, I think it's worth watching once. I mean, there's been some worse movies that Netflix has made.
Oh yeah.
And I think this is like Six Underground. I don't think is worth watching at all. Don't watch Six Underground. Watch this. Don't watch Red Notice. Watch this.
I can't recommend Red Notice or Six Underground. So I agree with you.
Both Ryan Reynolds movies on Netflix. All 3 are Ryan Reynolds movies on Netflix. But watch The Adam Project. The best made for Netflix Ryan Reynolds movie.
All right, I'll succumb to that. I agree with you. I agree with you. Of those 3, Adam Project is the superior film.
Yeah. That's The Adam Project.
Yeah.
You have anything else to add?
No.
Yeah,
Jennifer Garner was great.
Yeah, she's the best part of that movie.
Yeah, that bar scene's great.
Yeah.
Well done.
All right.
What do we got next, Jay? What's our next show going to be about here?
I don't know, but we're on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Tell them about that, Jay.
So YouTube, give you a brief history. In 2007, we have a YouTube channel. So look up A Cast with No Name. So if you're listening to this and you want to watch or listen to our podcast on YouTube, you have that capability. We put it into 15-minute parts because YouTube won't let us put in longer videos.
Because we're not established.
Yeah, because we're not established. We're not cool enough yet.
We're spam at this point.
So there's an option. We're on YouTube if you want YouTube, but if you're listening to us now, then you already know how to listen to us. So there you go. But you can leave a comment if you want to reach out to us. I swear to God, we'll get an email or something that you guys can then write to us so we can immediately delete it. But if you want to leave a comment for us, leave a comment. We're on YouTube. Maybe we'll read it. I don't know. We got shit to do. Jesus.
I know.
But if you want us to talk about something, leave a comment for now. We'll come up with an email.
We'll read it. Come on.
Probably.
Yeah, we'll read it.
But yeah, leave a comment. If you want us to talk about something, leave a comment. We'll come up with an email address sometime. So that way you can, if you want to tell us how shit we are, you can do that. If you want to give us something that you think we should talk about or a topic we should talk about, then we can do that too.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be movie related. How should you invest your money? Simple. NFTs and YOLOs on GME. So
that's right.
It's what a man does.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's our episode.
Yeah. What are we gonna talk about next time, Jay?
Well, next episode, what the hell did we talk about? Oh, we're gonna talk about how Fantastic Beasts should have been. We apologize. We were supposed to watch the new Fantastic Beasts movie. Life got in the way. I was traveling for work. Anyways, we didn't get around to it. Life got in the way. We had Easter this past weekend. Happy Zombie Day, everybody. But couldn't get around to it. Apologize. But I still at least want to talk to you about how Fantastic Beasts should have been made. Should have been made because it could have been a hell of a lot better than what they're doing now.
That's right.
So we're not going to talk about the new one, but we'll talk about what they should have done with the first movie to set them on the proper track moving forward.
Yeah, and we've talked about that numerous times.
Yeah,
and I agree with that concept because it's not doing too hot, Jay. I heard the box office is just not up to par.
It's not doing too well.
There's gonna be some redirection going on.
That is if they make more movies.
That's if they make more.
So I could see them just putting it. But we'll talk about that. We will also talk about we're going to talk about movies. The Jesus Christ, what am I tired? We're going to talk a couple episodes or whenever last episode we talked about the possibility of watching a movie that each of us recommended. So you recommended Blood Simple.
Yep.
And I recommended Open Range. So both of us had never seen those and how they relate to us. So I'm going to watch Blood Simple and we'll talk about that. And then Matt, you're going to watch Open Range and we'll talk about that. So we'll talk about three things. How Fantastic Beasts should have been made or how it should have been structured, and Blood Simple and Open Range.
And I guarantee you'll like Blood Simple.
I better.
You will.
I'm not going to guarantee you'll like.
Do you think I like Open Range?
I don't know. It's
I'll probably like it.
It's
a slow burn.
It's a slow burn, but it erupts in a glorious climax.
Does it? I'm scared. I don't know, Jay. Your climaxes.
It's not going to change your life. I mean, the movie's not going to change your life or anything. I just remember watching it. I had no expectations when I watched it.
Yeah. I just want it to be enjoyable.
And it is enjoyable.
I like Westerns.
It's good.
I'm sure I'll like it.
Make sure your sound system's in order for this movie.
Why? Because it's
just because.
Just because. All right.
Because.
Okay.
But yeah. So that's what we'll talk about. It's good to be back. Sorry for the lack of episode last week.
It's great to be back.
Yeah. It's fun stuff.
All right, Jay.
All right, Matt. Is that you doing your cookie crumble thing?
No.
Your fucking sign off?
No, because you just put me in my place every time I do it. So fuck you, and I'll just talk to you next time,
all
dick.
Right. Sounds good.
All right.
Love you.